my father's. My mother did not know ANAԻS, and I did not know her. But this is all, again, this same milieu, this sort of, you know, cloudy, mysterious, fascinating milieu of folks. So I have been crossing paths with Cameron, not knowing who she was. Samson was a member of the family. I didn't know that he conducted, you know, intellectual seances virtually in his salon, which was his back house in Hollywood off of Gower, above Melrose. Turned in a really scrappy neighborhood. So these are folks that I was intertwined with all along growing up that I did not know. And then once Samson, I got to know Samson better as he was getting on in years. Although Kenneth lived to 94, Samson, I don't know, Samson was in his 80s, I think, or something when he passed. Could have used a few more years of him. You know, brain picking. Whoa, it didn't occur to me. Even, you know, it was only like 25 years ago. I should have been digging deep and spending a lot more time there. Could have written a book. Kenneth, I last saw there was this opening of this like occult museum on Hollywood Boulevard. This was, I don't know, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And I met him there and we visited, and there was some kind of, I don't know, display or lecture and then show of the new museum. And I was able to, you know, regroup with him, remind him. I was, you know, my stock line, I'm Virgil Fry's son, I'm Elizabeth Brady's son. Oh, ding, 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 golden tickets, brass rings. So I was at least able to visit with him before he passed. Samson, I spent a good deal of time with before he passed because he was getting on, and it became evident. Kenneth had I think vacated the front house towards the end, or was just like missing in action all the time. So and Samson didn't really have much of a support system. He was notorious, but you know, when push comes to shove, who's going to wipe your ass, right? Not that we did that, but he needed a lot of help. You know, I have never seen such a decrepit place in my life. I would go there and clean his kitchen, tidy his bedroom, sort through his things, okay? So we have Samson, Google it. We have Aleister Crowley, who was kind of the overlord of these decades before it kind of became popularized into this, oh my God, there's teenagers in East Lansing sacrificing, you know, puppies in the woods. And oh my God, they're going to kill everybody. And then every serial killer is like, you know, an occultist, and you know, it just muddled the whole works here. I mean, who cares? But whatever. It's just disingenuous to kind of really what they were mimicking. And again, you know, much respect to you Satanists, but you know, now it's become like this hybrid of like pantheism, you know, like nature worship, and well, it's not really Satan. It's like, you know, Satan is nature and whatever, you know, I mean, hey, run with it, but whatever it is, I don't know, but there you go, run with it. It's not what I'm talking about and what I was exposed to. Cameron always fascinated the hell out of me because even though she looked like a bag lady, or not look, but you know, it was just kind of the general demeanor. I knew there was something in these conversations that my dad would have with her. And I would go to her shop on Santa Monica Boulevard. I was in the back where the sarcophagus and the pentagram was inlaid on the floor of the back of her shop. I knew Samson, like I said, I knew Kenneth, Curtis, all these people except for ANAԻS Nin, who my dad knew, who was also in this mix because what? Again, she starred in Kenneth Anger's films. So I guess not point being that I'm intermingled with all of this Hollywood occultist lore without even knowing it until way hindsight. You know, these things that you discover like, oh, I'm 50. Whoa, when I was 10, that was that? Well, it's one of those. No matter what it is, it doesn't have to be the occult, it can be whatever. And so that's where it landed, you know, is that these folks that I knew, you know, near and dear, had histories that that carried weight I wouldn't even been able to wrap my mind around. They were just people to me. But now, in hindsight, for me, it's fascinating to still read through things. I still will go online and read about Marjorie Cameron or Kenneth or even, you know, Samson had very strange proclivities. He would collect like clippings of the bizarrest things that someone did, like someone impersonated someone in the middle of somewhere, but it fascinated him. He had scrapbooks full of these just completely disparate, like bizarre, fascinating things. And I guess that just sort of kind of, you know, congealed kind of who he was. But not to take away from the fact that Samson was extremely well known subculturally in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, and in this Hollywood milieu of intellectuals, of actors, serious actors, and underground folks, filmmakers, Curtis Harrington, director, again, directors, actresses, writers, again, all kind of falling under Aleister Crowley, who was kind of the father of this. Now, they would just sort of kind of gentrified it and made sense out of it and made it fascinating and interesting and cogent. Others took it wherever they wanted to take it, you know, with Aleister Crowley. I'll end with this. Interesting. Even as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, you know, that year, I will never live down. Are we all bored with that enough? In the final scene in E.T., weird place to wrap this up, the scene that was cut, the whole ending of E.T. was different. It was Henry in his room and me next to him with the three boys around him, no Drew. And there was a skylight, as I'm sure you've probably heard this story. And Henry looks up to the skylight being shot through the ceiling, in effect speaking to E.T., who is gone, right? But as that scene starts, I'm leading the scene with the dialogue, sort of kind of strangely recapping what has happened briefly and where we are, deep in thought. So I thought, why don't there's a famous picture of Aleister Crowley, and he's like this. I think it's on a cover, well, it made it onto a cover of a book, but who knows where it came from. And he's like this. So in that scene, I even have a snapshot from a delete clip, I don't know where I found it, of me in that chair next to Henry saying the first lines, like a third of the lines, like him and me and only us. And I did it in an Aleister Crowley pose, deep in thought like this. It'll never get seen, who cares, whatever. The whole ending was changed. You know, Henry stops talking, they pan away from him, they go through the skylight, and E.T.'s communicator is still blinking on the roof. And then it pulls away, and in Melissa's script, it says, basically, you see the house, the roof, the neighborhood, the sky, the city, the earth, the space. It pulls that far, but that's how she wrote it. And so that was a whole like cliffhanger ending, of course, you know, the communicator's beeping and oh, what's going to happen next? But that's obviously not the ending that we ended up with. But anyway, I don't know. This is all over the place, but I just thought, one thought sparked another, believe it or not. And I was thinking of doing that last scene in E.T. that got cut, and my inspiration for those lines being Aleister Crowley. And then I thought, well, Cameron, Curtis, Samson, Kenneth. And I thought, show! So there you go. For what it's worth, that's tonight's show. Occult, Hollywood, and a little E.T. that I didn't even plan to put in there. Okay, as always, you guys, I feel better. I worked it out. Why is it that every time I come here and I talk to you guys, I work something out in my head and I walk away better for it? Okay. So, okay, My Long Goodbyes. Good movie, by the way, The Long Goodbye. See it. So until tomorrow, thanks for sharing all this time with me and these wackadoo stories and memories and ruminations. And I won't keep this too long. I know my goodbyes. What is it with my goodbyes? So until then, take good care. Take good care. You promised. Yesterday you promised to take good care. You better. I'm gonna come for you. As my dad said, I'm gonna go round and round. Okay. Take care. And I'll see you soon. Be good. More teasers, more clips, more previews, and of course a show or two on its way. Headlong, straight at you. Or maybe a twisters. Who knows? Take care again. Take care. Man, you gotta get me out of the habit of that take care shit. But I love you. Bye.